In the past year, there's been a huge surge in discussion about underrated and hidden gem Roblox games. And while some of the ones I've seen have honestly been great, others, not so much. So instead of blindly glazing those special hidden gems that I particularly enjoyed, I've decided to review everything I come across and rate them on a recommended or not recommended basis based on their overarching strengths and flaws. So without further ado, let's see if these hidden gems on Roblox are actually fun. Starting with... Pizza Game is a first-person shooter that combines Doom and Ultra Kill for a hell of a... I think you get it. Developed by Dogman531, Pizza Game is a first-person shooter that doubles as a roguelike, where you spawn in, blast your way through domestic gang violence using various weapon pickups, and escape through a teleporter. Rinse and repeat through each level until you die and start from the beginning, or reach the big bosses and initiate combat. Wait, this is clearly something you've seen before. Doom and Ultra Kill both have this premise, and both games work with it pretty damn well. Doom gets it done by putting you, a few guns, and hordes of demons in the same room. Ultra Kill does the same, while also broadening your arsenal and raising the stakes by forcing an aggressive playstyle with no passive health regen and no cover. Both games play pretty differently from each other, but still work because they're 99% action. There's never a dull moment. Pizza Game achieves this 99% action in a more similar fashion to Ultra Kill with its high-risk, high-reward playstyle. See, enemies hurt. A lot. Having no iframes means that your health can take in less than a second. So how can we play more aggressively when the risk is already so high? Souls are RNG-based drops from enemies, and they revive you when you die. Doming enemies in quick succession builds up your combo, which increases the chances of ops dropping souls when they inevitably die. You see where I'm going with this? If you don't want to go 6 feet under from a couple of stray bullets, you need to make sure that you got some souls on you. And getting those souls in the first place requires putting yourself on the front lines, which entails running and gunning through the ops. In other words, action. With it, it does the level-based shooter premise pretty damn well and makes up for its procedurally generated levels with another overarching roguelike mechanic. Just kidding, it all comes back here. At the end of each level, you can choose between spending 50% or 100% of your current soul count to gain a random upgrade. Of course, spending more souls means better upgrades, which plays even further into the high risk, high reward playstyle that makes up the bulk of Pizza Game. And I gotta admit, it's a pretty damn fun playstyle. The gameplay loop of Pizza Game is done really well when it's this aggressive, so what's the catch? Or the lack thereof. It doesn't affect gameplay too much outside of two major offenders: the soul reviving mechanic and enemies leading the shots mechanic. Both of these are pretty damn important to know about, and starting out in Pizza Game without that relevant knowledge can cause the game to feel super unfair. It's like you have no way of dodging and no way of restoring your health, which can lead into death, into closed out of the game. But after you learn this information, Pizza Game becomes a hell of an experience. It's telling in a really good way that the only flaws in this game lie in describing its mechanics to the player. It executes them really damn well. And now that you've watched this segment, you have this information. You have everything you need to make Pizza Game a fun experience, which is why I've gotta recommend it. And also to, you know, give it Queen of the Night by the Vanish People. Super Mario 64, baby! Developed by the real Concat, Super BLOX 64 is a platforming game that takes a more modern turn on Super Mario 64. In this game, you collect these player points scattered across unique worlds and environments using a variety of movement options. With the simple but charming art style and an even simpler premise, Super BLOX 64 is one of those games where you can put some music in the back and chill with some friends on call while you go collect those player points. But don't get me wrong, this ain't a mindless simulator game. If you zone out, your character's gonna have to respawn in the hospital. So you need to use 2 of your brain cells when playing. How does that make it fun? How does that make Super BLOX 64 work? Well, its general platforming premise is achieved in a similar fashion to similar platforming games like, I don't know, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Super Mario Odyssey, baby! By that, I mean with platforming mechanics done right. Any game can give you WASD in your classic point A to point B scenario, but a platforming game will give you a couple of additional moves and way more ways of approaching how you get from point A to point B. And a good platforming game ensures that all of these mechanics complement one another. Great examples of this are the Mario platformers. And since BLOX 64 takes inspiration from these games, the huge open level design they made provides so much freedom for these mechanics to shine, and getting the hang of these mechanics, practicing them, mastering them, makes up the bulk of the fun and satisfaction you get from playing. And I promise you I'm not glazing when I say this. BLOX 64 has no major flaws. From what I've played, there was nothing I discerned that could be a major impediment to gameplay and the overall experience. I mean, sure, there are some minor flaws like, where's that last player point fragment? I have been searching for 20 minutes! But they're all honestly pretty nitpicky. And compared to some of the more generic Roblox games out there, minor flaws like these are nothing. BLOX 64 has some damn good gameplay. It's got style, and it's got polish. Nothing much else I could ask for, so you already know why I gotta recommend it and give it the Vanished People's Castaway. This is Markiplier. This is the Battle Cats. And this is art. Developed by Two More, the Battle Bricks takes a more unique approach to the tower defense genre. It plays on a level-by-level basis, where instead of putting down towers in the safety of the off-path, you place down old-school Roblox scenes on the front lines, baby. As you might have gathered, you're not only using these goons to defend. The main goal in each level is to destroy your ops tower while keeping your own alive. And while this premise is fairly simple, it manifests as a pretty damn fun game nonetheless because of the game's core mechanics. Check this out. You've got your bank income, units to deploy, and the need to balance the two as you progress through the level. For reference, both of these options cost money. If you spend too much into income and don't have enough units early on, you're toast. But if you don't have enough income to support the unit deployment necessary to overcome the ops later on, you're still toast. This balance is the central pressure behind the Battle Bricks, and a major part of what makes it work. For the harder levels, you can't just bulldoze your way with the same strategy every time. You've got to customize your goons alongside how you play them to adapt to your ops' new gimmicks. This is what makes the tower defense genre work so well, and it's what makes the Battle Bricks work too. Hitting a brick wall with one particular build, tweaking it, then smashing it through that same wall is a damn satisfying feeling that you can only get from similar customization games. But gameplay aside, just take a look at this UI, man. It's simple, clean, and gets the job done for conveying information to the player. And just so y'all understand how good this UI is, take a look at its inspiration. Maybe it's just me, but I dig the old school Roblox art direction way more. Now, I know y'all were waiting for this one. Don't get me wrong, I really love the level of customization the Battle Bricks provides, but the levels can sometimes get super trial and error-y because of it. Since you're given so many options, you're forced into a difficulty requiring full usage of those options, which can get redundant for the harder levels when you're looking for just a chill time. But this flaw aside, the Battle Bricks is a damn good tower defense game. It's easy to fall asleep with other games of its type, but this one keeps you engaged with the stakes, the great art style, and the customization. I do recommend it, and I'll recommend this song too. They're both pretty goated.